Welcome, age of vintage society. The platinum blonde hair, the pleasurable figure housing those infectious blue eyes, and her busty upper limb tell nothing but the blonde bombshell appearance that she represented within her sensational career before the cold hands of death struck. Smart and beautiful Joi Lansing is among the model ladies of American society of the 1940s, perhaps the contemporary generation. With her talent and gracefulness, Lansing placed herself among the much idolized version of the average American woman. Why men only wanted Joi Lansing for her body. I hope you know, my viewers, how much I appreciate you. Thank you for your generous comments and for the Patreons. This channel would not have been successful without you. Big thanks to those who watched the video right to the end. Subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. I'm not sure I have the right word to describe this romantic image. Joi Lansing was one of those you could say enjoyed the show while it lasted, because not only was her journey cut short by the tragic hands of death, several of her life circumstances made her an interesting movie actress and singer to remember. Her pin-up image was synonymous with that adoring golden hair and her azure eyes that gave her a sensual outlook, a desire of almost every man. Her short-lived career was felt in movies, TV and stage performances, with vigour and social vibes that wowed her generation. Her stylish approach to the small-screen entertainment made her a remarkable actress of her era. While she may not be the regular celebrity name that you can remember so often, current Hollywood fans would likely have appreciated her talent even more with those classic images that someone once said make the men go gaga. You will remember Lansing if you are old enough to remember classic TV shows like Perry Mason, The Beverly Hillbillies, I Love Lucy or Petticoat Junction, because of her very commendable roles in those shows. Understandably, her depiction inclined more toward that sexy lady who made men turn their heads any time she appeared. Apart from her radiant beauty, Lansing was such an intelligent persona, likeable with a dogged career principle. She represented what media publicists referred to as the blonde bombshell all through the latter part of the 1940s and up to the 1950s. For want of something to say about this iconic sex goddess, she is that woman every man wants to experience, or the lady other girls aspired to be like. Some would remember the likes of Marilyn Monroe while talking about Joi Lansing, because they're in that classic brand of golden age actresses that unconsciously instills in their society that to be golden-haired and busty is to be attractive. If Joi Lansing were to be alive a little longer, her impact would have been more pronounced. That notwithstanding, Joi Lansing has a place in the Royal Hollywood hierarchy of blonde pin-up actresses, alongside others of her kind, including Jane Mansfield and Mamie Van Doren. Lansing's major achievement did come from her regular television shows and a muse to Orson Welles, who used her in The Fountain of Youth, a 1956 TV production that premiered on Colgate Theatre 2 years after. Lansing acted both in comedy and drama with her excruciating physical attributes. Her only downside was that she never had the right opportunity in classic movies that would have given her the kind of fame she earnestly merited. Unfortunately, too, she had her share of Hollywood predators, whose stock in trade is to exploit young Hollywood beauties in the guise of providing them with the opportunity for a movie contract, a practice that had become more like an ugly creature in the movie industry and even in theatre production. Whether such is now an acceptable part of showbiz remains contentious, even as a large portion of the industry players are often fingered. If you have heard about the casting couch before now, you possibly will understand what I am talking about. I once interviewed a retired Hollywood actress who spoke sincerely of what she knew about the casting couch syndrome, as practiced in the entertainment industry, having passed through it with a method that gave her victory. Sometimes the young and promising talents, she alleged, are subjected to a condition where they often ask themselves, who do I sleep with to get on this movie? And those who do not want to follow that lane are often victimized. In her memoir, Alexis Hunter, a personal friend, a true soulmate to Lansing, captures some of the interesting moments of this great performer, narrating both the joys and trying moments of her time. Joi Lansing was born in Salt Lake City, Utah in 1929 as Joy Ray Brown. Some will remember her as that American model. She was also popular as a nightclub singer. A daughter to Jack Glenn Brown, an orchestra artiste, and his wife Virginia Grace Brown. At different stages of her life she was known by different surname names, including Wasmansdorf and Loveland, who were her stepfathers, respectively. Perhaps her preference for the entertainment industry may have started when her family moved to Los Angeles in 1940. Growing up was fun, as everyone saw Joi Lansing blossom in beauty with a kind of figure that a friend of mine once described as the kill for men. Perhaps the reason she was lured into the modelling career as early as 14 years. The fun and ambition may have distracted her normal high school education, as she was said to have completed that aspect of basic education inside the MGM studio environment, as she was on contract with the studio at the time as a teenager. Her journey to Hollywood got her jobs in films as a sexy queen, a mannequin's kind of showgirl, as seen in Easter Parade in 1948, Take Me Out to the Ball Game in 1949, and so on. Her role in MGM's Singin' in the Rain in 1952 was unaccredited, but Joi Lansing got top billing when she appeared in Hot Cars in 1956, a misdemeanor drama about the stolen car racket. Between 1954 and 56, Lansing appeared in several of Joe McDoke's pictures. As her career took its peak, she had attracted TV shows with many guest shots on related programs and attracting to herself over 200 screen tributes. Everyone saw her appear in that famous opening string of Orson Welles' Touch of Evil, coming into view as Zeta, the dancer who passes on in a car blast at the end of the extensive tracking attempt. Her character was seen explaining to Boundary Security that she keeps hearing this ticking noise inside her head. Her place as a model showgirl saw her doing scenes in several movie genres, including science fiction. Fans will remember her brief presence as an astronaut's lover in the sci-fi satire Queen of Outer Space in 1958. Joi was in action in that film for just about 3 to 4 minutes. You might be wondering what her role was exactly in that movie. She was seen kissing an astronaut goodbye prior to his takeoff. She continued blowing kisses in the air as a sign of extreme affection as he was leaving. Trust the camera as it panned toward her with a close-up that revealed her caricatured expression as the rocket gets ready to launch. But in all her performances, Joi Lansing's memory remained very vivid in most of her sexy pin-up shots, even with several of her roles in B-films. Lansing may have decided to create a fresh impression when she put into motion her singing career around the 1960s. She was seen performing in nightclubs with people like Xavier Cugat and Les Paul. Young, beautiful and talented, Joi Lansing was very ambitious at the time, earnestly looking for a career breakthrough. While she was recording, she was also appearing on a variety of TV talk shows, like the ones hosted by Bob Hope, Frank Sinatra, Merv Griffin and so on. For a reason not very obvious, in 1964, producer Stanley Todd was reported to have discussed a movie project with Lansing, which was hastily branded Project 22, billed to be produced in an international location. Some sources identified the expected shooting location as Yugoslavia. Lansing was billed to star in the film alongside George Hamilton and Geraldine Chaplin, but the production became a mirage, as it never happened. But I was wondering what may have transpired. I have asked questions and made some research, but never had any lead as to why it never happened. Was there a cover-up somewhere, or is there something we don't know about the said production? Why was history silent about it? Is it in any way related to the things that were captured by Alexis Hunter's diary that have attracted some emotional concern? Forgive my curiosity, I'm just thinking. Joi Lansing, in her trendy career as beauty personified, may not have had it easy with men, who seem to be created to just take advantage of young beauties. Unfortunately, this category of persons flourished in the entertainment arena and was sometimes so powerful that no one ever heard or does anything about their activities. I'm talking about men who are predators of young women in the entertainment industry and vice versa. Their activities may have formed an unwritten rule that upcoming talents have to obey before they are accepted in the industry, but thankfully some actresses like Joi Lansing, who knew their worth in the industry, were able to conquer, regardless of the inherent danger of exposure to this range of persons. Alexis Hunter did not write as a spokesperson. She wrote as a lover and ardent fan of Joi Lansing about how she felt and things she may have heard from her. Memoirs are so powerful, especially if it is talking about a marvel of her kind. Hunter did hint at how Joi may have encountered the people I called entertainment predators in the industry during her career pursuit. Imagine receiving an invitation as a young actress about a possible film role, only for you to arrive at the venue and find yourself alone with someone who wanted something different from what you were offering, not when you know that your decision in such a moment can high or low your career dream. I just hope this is not what I'm thinking, assuming your host began to make a pass at you without seeking your consent, as though your opinion is useless. I will put my coin to this: only smart fellows can pull through such a hurdle. We have also heard how some fellows would just go ahead exposing their forbidden parts, just to create an impression that was never requested. All these made the terrain more horrible for the likes of Joi Lansing, whose career put her in more danger than anyone can imagine. Alexis Hunter captures some of these scenarios in her memoir, which she titled Joi Lansing, A Body to Die For, as one who herself experienced some of them, working as a writer and artist. Recounting Lansing's encounters in Hollywood from her early career till her tragic demise, Hunter re-echoed what is already known as the hurdles that classic splendors like Lansing have to put up with in the course of their career. The good news is that she dealt with these unplanned passes and developed her way of overcoming them as they came, even though, according to Hunter, it seems to happen almost every time she is about to do a new production. Reacting to Hunter's memoir, Leslie Todd, the founder of Town Centre Drugs in Palm Desert, who was Joi's stepdaughter, spoke of how Lansing learned to overcome these challenges. When she goes to meet co-workers or employers for any film production discussion, she would be very watchful of the environment, and if they summoned her into their trailer with the door open, then it was a real meeting. But if the reverse is the case, assuming the door gets shut and locked behind, it was a signal for her to leave immediately. She get up and leave because they didn't want to talk. They just wanted sex, Leslie said. What a price for being beautiful. Data available shows that in 1969, then in her 40th year, Lansing impressed 20-year-old promising actress Alexis Hunter. They too had something in common, the blonde beauty. Alexis, who was initially known as Nancy Hunter, was also a model and Miss Charter Oak in 1966. The duo liked each other and became friends. Hunter, who is another sex icon and a young starlet, was more than interested in Joi as the two moved in from friendship to passionate lovers, though their affair remained secret. Recall that Lansing was married to Stan Todd, who was also her agent at the period, though the union remained on a platonic connection. Alexis and Joi's romance continued covertly for about 3 years before the ugly hands of fate came knocking. Their love life may have been discreetly covered owing to possible public reaction to same-sex affairs at the time, but it was obvious that the duo was passionately in intimate love. There were rumours that Hunter took a position as Joi's younger sister to avoid raising any suspicion. That gossip later had an element of truth, as Hunter even paraded herself as pseudo-Rachel Lansing. It does appear that Lansing had a lot of trouble with her final years, from being under pressure with substance abuse to cancer that took over her health. Hunter, who had to wait for more than 40 years to release her memoir, said that she decided to publish it at the time she did because her parents, whom she knew would not be happy to know that she was in such a relationship, had died, so she felt obliged to make it public. She described Joi as someone who did not give much attention to her beauty and celebrity status, rather was kind-hearted towards everyone, and very humble if she had to, including special love for her little pet animal. Hunter added that because of how passionate she and Lansing were, they were very careful with their relationship, and they didn't socialise with lots of people. On how she reacted when the news of Lansing's death became reality, Hunter was quoted to have said, "I was so devastated that I had to go far away from all that reminded me of us. I relocated to Hawaii." Joi Lansing, who was a pious Mormon, also had a notable romantic relationship with Frank Sinatra. Sadly, she succumbed to breast cancer disease on the 7th of August 1972 in Santa Monica Hospital after managing the illness for about 2 years. To her admirers, this sex goddess at 43 did not quite fulfill her dream, but fate thought otherwise. Yet her legacy would remain for generations to come, including her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for her contributions to television. The famous casting couch syndrome has always been a thing in Hollywood. Studios had high demands. Why studios hated to work with Simone Simon? Watch this video.